Think you're ready for the IELTS speaking test? Well, we're going to find out. Today, we're going to simulate a mock speaking test using a scenario pulled from another podcast episode. It'll be like a dress rehearsal where you get to watch and learn.
We'll role play it word for word so you can really get a feel for how the test flows and what kind of questions to expect.
Yeah, we'll break it all down for you.
And after the role play, we'll point out some of the good expressions and collocations that we use so you can try and use those yourself.
Okay. Let's jump right into part one, the introduction and interview. I'll be the examiner and you be the candidate. You ready to show off those English skills?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, first question. Have you ever received advice that changed your life?
Yes, I have. My father once gave me some advice that had a huge impact on me. He told me to not worry about failing, but instead to focus on learning.
Do you enjoy giving advice to others?
I do, especially when it's about something that I know a lot about, like, say, studying strategies or time management. I just enjoy sharing tips that might help others reach their goals. But I try not to give advice unless someone actually wants it, you know? I think that advice works best when someone is actually open to it and ready to make some changes.
Have you ever regretted not following someone's advice?
Absolutely, I have. I remember once a friend recommended that I start studying for my final exams well in advance, but I just kept putting it off until the last minute. And in the end, I was cramming and felt super overwhelmed, which definitely affected how well I did. I definitely learned a valuable lesson from that experience about the importance of managing time well and taking good advice seriously.
All right, so that wraps up part one. We tackled those introductory questions.
Okay.
Now get ready for part two. The long turn.
Okay.
This is the part where you really show off your storytelling skills. You get 1 minute to prepare and then up to 2 minutes to speak about the given topic.
Sounds like
It is. Your topic is, describe a time you felt embarrassed. You should say when and where it happened, what you were doing, how you felt about it, and explain how you handled the situation. You have 1 minute to gather your thoughts. I'll let you know when the minute's up.
Okay.
All right, your minute is up. Whenever you're ready, you can begin.
Okay, so one embarrassing moment that really stands out in my memory is when I had to do a presentation in my university seminar. I had been preparing for days, but when I stood up to give the presentation, I just blanked. I forgot a lot of the main points and felt my face turning red as I kept stammering and stumbling through the speech. I could feel everyone's eyes on me, which just made me more nervous. I felt so embarrassed, especially since I had practiced so much and really wanted to make a good impression. To try and handle the situation, I took a deep breath and looked down at my notes and just tried to regain my composure. I realized that the audience wasn't judging me as harshly as I thought they were, which helped me relax a little. I was able to finish the presentation, and afterwards I laughed it off with my classmates who were actually pretty supportive.
Okay. And now for the final round, part three. Discussion.
Okay.
This is where we get into some of the broader topics related to what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
So do you think that people are more willing to accept advice now than they were in the past?
I think that people today are more open to advice, especially because there's just so much information online now, like self-help articles and videos and blogs. Before, people might have had to rely on personal experiences or family advice, but now it's so easy for people to seek out expert opinions and different kinds of advice from a variety of sources. However, I still think that whether someone is willing to actually accept advice is very dependent on their personality and if they're genuinely open to changing.
What do you think people feel embarrassed in certain situations?
I think people usually feel embarrassed when they think that they've made a mistake or if they think that they haven't lived up to what's expected of them socially. Embarrassment often comes from being self-conscious about how other people see you. For example, someone might feel embarrassed if they trip and fall in public or if they accidentally say something awkward. It's a natural reaction since most people generally want to feel accepted and respected by others around them.
How important do you think tidiness is in someone's life?
I think tidiness plays a significant role in someone's mental and physical well-being. A tidy environment can really reduce stress and can help people feel more organized, which can lead to better productivity and focus. Like, I know that I've find it much easier to concentrate when my workspace is neat and organized, with everything where it belongs. On the other hand, being surrounded by clutter can make people feel overwhelmed and make it harder to focus. I think tidiness is especially important in spaces that are shared, since it shows that you're considerate of other people, and it can really help to keep a peaceful environment.
Great. So, we've now completed a full simulation of the IELTS speaking test.
Yeah.
Let's take a moment to highlight some of the key expressions and collocations you used that stood out to me.
Okay.
When you were talking about receiving advice, you said that it shifted your perspective. That's a much stronger way to say that your thinking changed than simply saying something like, changed my mind.
Yeah, using sophisticated language like that can show that you have a broad vocabulary and can help you to sound more fluent and natural.
Exactly. Another one I noticed was take on challenges. That's a great collocation that highlights a proactive and positive approach.
And in the story about feeling embarrassed, you used blanked out and regain my composure. Those were fantastic examples of idioms that add a conversational tone while still maintaining a high level of language.
Yeah, it's about finding that sweet spot between being engaging and expressive while still showing off your range of vocabulary. You can adapt these phrases and strategies for your own answers. Think about your own experiences. What advice has shaped you? What embarrassing moments have you learned from? How can you turn those stories into answers that will really grab the listener on test day?
Practice makes perfect. The more you familiarize yourself with different topics and practice speaking clearly and fluently, the more confident you'll be going into the real test.
That's it for today's deep dive into the IELTS speaking test. We hope that this mock test simulation has been helpful for you and that you were able to pick up some good tips along the way. Good luck with all your prep, and remember, confidence is key.